Oh, I thought I would do another live, a very short one, as the other one seemed to go okay. Not very comfortable with the whole process, but if nothing else, COVID-19 has pushed us all out of our comfort zone. So I've had lots and lots of questions and queries from both employers and employees about how to deal with furlough and some of the new rules about, well, working at home. Do we have to take holiday? Do we have to take annual leave? It's all very complex, and actually it's changing all the time. The government keeps changing the rules, and HR teams, employment lawyers, we're all trying to work out how it works, what the rules are, and the truth is we don't know. We know some things, but we don't know all the answers, and we haven't written all the policies, and there hasn't been case law. So I thought I'd talk a bit about a reasonable employer, because it is a thread that runs through employment law, and it's quite unusual in terms of a legal term, because although there are some rules about what it means, it mostly has a common sense meaning. And employment law requires employers to be reasonable. It also requires employees to be reasonable, but it doesn't state so in quite such a specific way. And it's just a good reminder, if you're thinking about what is your boss doing, or what is your colleague doing, or what is your company doing, is to just ask the question, does it seem reasonable? And not reasonable from just your own perspective, because sometimes we think, oh, that's not fair. How can they do this? It's ridiculous. But ask somebody who is objective. Ask the kind of friend who will tell you when your skirt is caught in your knickers, or you're not wearing your best dress, or maybe you really should brush your hair. Ask them and just say, do you think other people would think this was reasonable? And it's things like, it is reasonable to ask you to do things slightly different at the moment. It is reasonable to ask you to take on perhaps tasks that you wouldn't normally take on. But it's not reasonable for you to suddenly have to take on the whole organization, or 100 extra hours. And then a lot to do with furlough, it is about, what is reasonable? So if you can ask that question of yourself, I know it's a very difficult question to answer. There's no obvious answer, and people like certainty. But I think it's a good standpoint, and it's good to know that the courts will kind of look at that. Because when things do go wrong, and things will go to tribunals and courts, what will happen was the courts will have to look back and go, well, we didn't have clear rules. We didn't have everything written down. So they will look back and say, what is reasonable? So it is reasonable to ask you to arrange a meeting for today or tomorrow. It's not reasonable to ring you up and say, I want to talk to you right this second. I don't care that your children are running around the house and you've got a baby, and that's not reasonable. But to ask to meet you tomorrow, or is it a good time, or they're all reasonable things. So try and think about what is reasonable. And if you're not sure, then talk to a good friend, or talk to a lawyer, or talk to an HR person, or talk to a Ninja HR person like me. I hope that was useful. But it's my second professional live, so that's one more thing to go. Now I'm off to go and collect some prescriptions for people in the village. So have a good day, enjoy the sun, and be reasonable. Bye. Don't know how to turn it off. A Ninja HR person like me. I hope that was useful. But it's my second professional live, so that's one more thing to go. Now I'm off to go and collect some prescriptions for people in the village. So have a good day, enjoy the sun, and be reasonable. Bye. Don't know how to turn it off. A Ninja HR person like me. I hope that was useful. But it's my second professional live, so that's one more thing to go. Now I'm off to go and collect some prescriptions for people in the village. So have a good day, enjoy the sun, and be reasonable. Bye.